Hi and welcome to part 3 of this video series. Today we're going to go through these tasks. The first task is to implement a loading bar so that we know when we're getting and sending data to the server. In one of the previous parts we already included or implemented the function setIsLoading, so now we're going to use it in app.vue. So if I just go to app.vue, I can edit between the navbar and the section. So here I add a div class isLoading and isLoading bar, and has text centered because we want the circle to be centered inside this. And then we bind this to a class. So if the state is loading, then we want to add one more class here. So isLoading store.state.isLoading, and then close this. So if this returns true, then this class will be appended to this list of classes. And in here I want to add one more div class LDS dual ring, and then close that div and close that div. And then to hide this when it's not supposed to be showing, I want to add some styling down in this style tag here. So first I add styling to the ring. I want this to be 80 pixels wide and 80 pixels tall, and also want to set display inline block on it. And then I want to use CSS to add something after this. There. And as you can see here, I call it animation because I want this to be spinning around. So I also need to add the animation CSS below here. Like that. So when it's starting, it should be rotated at 0 degrees, and when it's finished, 360 degrees. And then I also need to add styling to the wrapper, this one, when it's showing and when it's not showing. Like that. So now it's supposed to have height 0 when overflow hidden, and when it is loading, its height should be set to 80 pixels. So then we can save this, and to implement it we can, for example, go to login.vue, and here, before we submit this form to the server, first we need to set this function to be async, because we also then can set a wait here. So before we send this to the server, we can just say this.store.commit setIsLoading true. So now this should be loading. So now when this is true, the spinner bar should be showing. And after the Axios is finished, below here we set this to false and save. And we can also implement this on the sign up view. So here we need to change this to async, and then at the top we set this.isLoading. Actually we can wait until we're in here, like that, and then await. After that we set it back to false and save. So now we have a simple loading bar we can use all over the application. So I can set this task to done. Next step now is to create a new Django app for the leads. So now I need to go here in the terminal and stop the server. And to create the new app we just say python manage.py start app lead, and then it's created. So I can set this to done. The next step then is to create the database model for saving the leads. So if I scroll up, find Gunnar CRM, and then the lead app and models.py. I need to import the user object from Django. So from django.contrib.auth.models import user. So then I can connect a lead to the user who creates it. And then to create the model we say class lead models.model. And the first field I want here is a connection to the company. So company equals models.char field. Max length can be set to 255. And I also want a contact person. So let me just copy and paste, replace with contact person. This will be the name of the lead. And one field for email. This can actually be an email field. That doesn't need any max length. And phone. And also website. But maybe not all leads have a website, so there we can set this to blank equals true and null equals true, so we allow this to be empty. And then I want one field for confidence to set how sure we are to get or win this lead. Confidence equals models.integer field. So this will be a percentage from 0 to 100. Blank equals true, null equals true, in case we don't want to fill it out. Also want to have one integer field for the estimated value of this lead. Estimated value. This can also be the same type of field. And I want one field for status. This should be a choice field, so I want to create the choices up here first. I want to make it possible to set this to new. And contacted. And in progress. And lost. And won. And then I need to make a tuple so we can make this a select list. Choices, status equals. And then we set new. And new. This is the label that will show in the Django admin area. Contacted. In progress. Lost. And won. Great, so now we can add this here. I want this to be a char field as well. And the max length here can be 25. Choices should be these choices status. And default can be new. And I also want a similar like this for the priority. So below here, I set low, low, medium, medium, high, high. And the new tuple here, choices, priority, low, oops, whoops, there, medium, medium, high, and high. Like that. I can copy this, priority, and this will be choices, priority, and the default here can be medium. And then I want one more field for connecting it to who created this. So created by equals models dot foreign key. This is an index to connect it to a user. Oops, user. So let's set the related name to leads, so it's easy to get the leads for a certain user. And on delete equals models.cascade. So when we delete the user, we also delete all of its leads. And I want one field for created at, so we know when it was created. Models.date time field. Auto now add equals true. So when we create this, this will be automatically filled out. And I also want one more field for checking when it was last modified. Modified at equals models.date time field. And here just auto now equals true. So every time we save this model, this will be automatically set to now. Great. So then before we update the database, I need to register this with the installed apps for Django. And to do that now with the Django 3.2, I think I need to set this to be lead.apps.leadconfig, I think. Save, try to update the database, make migrations. Yes, create model lead and migrate. So lead is the name of the app. Then you have a file called apps, which is configurations for the Django app, and lead config is just the name inside there. But now we have updated the database and we can run the server again. Python manage.py run server. So then I can set this task to done, and we can go to the next task, which is creating a serializers for the leads. A serializers takes data from the database and makes it presentable for the front end. And to do that, we need to go back into the lead folder here, create a new file called serializers.py. First, I need to import a little bit from Django Rest Framework. From Rest Framework, import serializers. And then I want to import the model we just created. So from .models import lead, and then I want to create the serializer, and I do this by saying class lead serializer serializers.model serializer, and then we add the class meta for configuration, class meta. And the model I want to use is lead, of course. And then the fields I want to get to the front end should be a new tuple, like that. And here I want the ID, and I want the company name. I don't remember all of these, so I can just go back here, copy this list, and paste it here. So it's just supposed to be company. But I want the contact person, the email, the phone, the website, confidence, the estimated value, the status, the priority, and who it was created by, and when it was created, and when it was last modified. So I can remove that, and now this should be okay. So now I can set the next task to done, and next we want to create a view. This is for showing or make it possible to get this serializers from the front end. So then I need to find leads/views.py. So first I want to import something more from the REST framework. From REST framework, import ViewSets. This makes it possible to get very good functionality from Django Rest Framework for getting information, saving information, updating and deleting and similar. So when we have that, we can also import the model from .models import lead, and from .serializers import lead serializer. Great. So then we can create the view set for this. Class item view, lead view set. And in here we pass in viewsets.model viewset. And the serializer class we want to use equals the lead serializer, and query set equals lead.objects.all. But this will give us all of the leads in the database, even if you are not the one who created this. So I need to override that functionality by creating a function in here called def get query set, pass in self, and then just return self.queryset.filter created by equals request.user. Sorry, self.request.user. So now you only get leads that you have created. So then I can set this task to done. And next now I want to create a new URLs file here. urls.py. Sorry, I forgot to go in here and set this to done. So now it's setting up the URLs. So here I say from Django.urls import path and include. And I want to import something from framework, from Rest Framework.routers import default router. And I want to import the ViewSet we just created from .views import lead ViewSet. And then I want to create a default router. So router equals default router, router.register. Then we pass in leads. So the URL will be /leads to get all of the leads, /leads/1 to get the one with ID 1 and similar. And the Django Rest Framework fixes all of this for us. So here we just need to pass in the lead ViewSet, set the base name equals leads. And down here, just a URL patterns equals path can be empty, include router.urls and save. So then we don't get any errors down here, so we just need to import this into the main URLs file. So at the bottom here, you can say path API/v1, and then we also include lead.urls, which is the URLs file we just created. Great. So now that task can also be set to done. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to my Patreons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link to my Patreon in the description below. And the next step now is to create a page for showing a list of leads, which we don't have in the database yet, but we can do it anyway. So inside the dashboard, we create a new file, leads.view. And I can make a copy of this, so I don't have to write all of this. Leads, and save. And we can import this to the router, so we can go and test all of this. So here, copy the my account, leads, like that. And we can make a copy of this one. Forgot the comma there, dashboard/leads, use the leads name and that, and we also want to require login is true. So if I go here now, I should be able to go to leads and see the title leads. Perfect. So next step now is to create a function for getting the leads from the backend, and to do that we're going to use Axios. So if I just go back to leads.view, first need to import Axios from Axios, and here I also want to use the mounted live hook, just like we did in app.view. We used a function or a live hook called before create, but here I want to use one called mounted. So when this page is mounted, I want to call a function named getLeads, like that. So then I can create it here, methods, not the function, it should be like that. And this needs to be asynchronous, so I can use the loading bar. So async get leads, and this.store.commit set is loading to true. Copy this paste it, set to false. And in here I want to call axios dot get. It's important to use the get because we want to get information from the server. API /v1/leads, and then we get the response back from the server. Response, create a fat arrow function in here. And to store this so we can use it up in the template, we can create a data array up here. Return leads, it should be an empty list like that. And then to store this, we just say this.leads equals response.data, because response.data is a JSON list of leads we can use like this. And if there are any errors, catch error, and just show this in the console. Error, like that. So if we save now, nothing happens here because we haven't done anything to present them. And we need to change this to this.getLeads. So just want to see if there are any errors, and yes, there is. Yeah, I think the problem is that I forgot to activate the tokens for the backend. So if I find settings.py up here, I need to add a little bit of code, because I need to set that Rest Framework should have a default authentication class, which is token authentication, and default permission classes is Rest Framework permissions.isAuthenticated. So if I now save this, hopefully if I refresh, I don't get any errors here anymore. And here you can see that this was successfully getting the leads from the backend. Perfect. So now we can go back to leads to show the leads which we don't have yet, but we can add a simple table below here. Close that div, and then in here I want to show a table. So table class table thead tr th company th contact person th status. So we don't need to add any more there yet. We'll come back to this. Thead body, and close the table. And then in here I want to loop through this list of leads using the tr v4 lead in leads, and we also need to have this vbind key lead.id, so all of the tr will be unique. And then in here we have the dtd lead.company. Close that. td lead.contact person. Close that. td lead.status. But there is still nothing here, just the table header. You can add one more class. Is full width, so it fills out the whole screen. But now we need to make it possible to add new leads. So below this title here I want to add a button, router link to dashboard leads add lead router link. Now we have this button, but this page doesn't exist yet, so we need to create it. But first we can set this to done. And we can go back here now, just copy the top, create a new file in the dashboard folder called add lead.vue. Add lead. Close that div, close that div, close that div, close the template, add script, export default name add lead. And then last but not least, we need to import this to the router. Add lead. Like that. And append it at the bottom of this list. Leads/add. Add lead. And save. So if I go back here now, you will see the title. Then below here, I want a form where I can fill out information about the lead. So I'll go back to here, create a new column, form, and when we submit this form, I want to call a function called submit form at submit.prevent, because we don't want to use the default browser functionality. We need to call .prevent submit form. Close and close. Now we can just create this function as well before we continue. Methods console.log submit form. Great. So then in here we need to add a few fields. We need for all of the information we want. So first we can add for the company name, div class field, label company, close the label, div class control, input type text, name, company, and then a class. Want this to be type of input to get styling from Bulma. And then we need a way to reference it down here. So we need to add the V model attribute, company. Okay, close that. And close that. So if I now in here say data, return, company, set this to be empty by default. Then I can copy this and say contact person, and this can also, actually I don't need a name because we need only the V model to connect it to the information down here. I get the contact person, default empty. And I want one field for email. This can be type email, and we can add it to the list here. Email, empty. And one for the phone. And one for the website. And website as well. And confidence. This can be input type number. Confidence. And the estimated value. This can also be a number. Estimated value. And we also want to make it possible to select the status and also the priority. So to create a select list, we say div class field, and we want the label here status. Close this. Div class control, div class select, I think. No, it's probably just select class select V model status. So then we need to add this down here as well. Option value new. This here, new with the lowercase, needs to be exactly the same as in the model we created for Django. Option and we can set new to the default status like that. So this will be selected by Vue. Contacted, contacted, and we also have the in progress, in progress, in progress, and lost and won, lost, lost, won, and won. Close the select, close the div class control, and that. Then we can make a copy of this for priority. This V model is priority. We can add it down here. And this can default to medium. Only need 3 here. Low, low, medium, and high. Great, so now we just need a button for submitting the form. Button class button, oops, button is success, so it's nice and green. Submit. Close the button, close the div, and close the div. Save. We can see how this looks. Forgot to add a comma down here. There. Great, so now we have this. Okay, estimated value is not added to the list here. 0, and the same with the confidence. 0. So now everything here should be okay. So if I refresh, we don't get any warnings here. And if I click submit now, you will see submit form, which is console logged from this function. So now we need to make it possible to send this information to the backend. First I want to create an array, const lead, and then I want to pass in the company. Oops, I don't need this here. Email, email, phone, website, estimated value. Sorry, this dot estimated value, because we want to reference this. So we need to set this dot company like this. Great. And then the confidence. This dot confidence. And status, this dot status. And priority, this dot priority. And then to send it to the backend, we need to use Axios again. So we need to import it here. Import Axios from Axios. And we also want to use the loading bar here. So this needs to be async. Oops, typo, async. This dot store $store dot commit. Set is loading to true. And at the bottom of this function, we want to set it to false again. So then here we can call Axios. First await, because we want to wait for this to finish. Dot post, and the address now is API/v1/leads, and then Django Rest Framework will handle the rest for us there. But we still need to pass in the lead, this list, like that. And when that's done, we get a new response. We can console log this just to see what it is. And when that's done, I want to redirect us back to the leads page. So this dot router dot push / dashboard / leads. So we go to that page. And if there are any errors, I want to show them in the console. Console log error and save. So now that should be done. So we can go here and test this. Try to fill in some random information. Submit. Okay, this needs to be email. Submit. And I got an 400 error. That's not good. If I go to network, leads, I want to show what error is. This field is required. Created by. Yes, of course, we need to override the default created function in the backend. So just leave this as it is. So we can go back to views.py in the lead app. Because now the framework doesn't know which user to set this to. So in here, just like we did here, we need to create one for the save. So def perform create self, and we also need to pass in the serializer here, serializer 1 like that, and we can just call serializer.save, and then we can set created by equals self.request.user and save. We can try again now, submit. Okay, we still got a new error. This field is required. Okay, so the field created by is missing. And the reason why it's missing is because we haven't added it to the list of fields we are sending in yet. So if we go to add lead, you will see that we don't have it in this list. And right now the backend is expecting created by because we have created by in this field list here. So we need to move these three, just cut them out, go up here, create a new variable called read only fields and paste them here. And the reason why ID can still be here is that ID is default a read only field. So let me save this now. Then we can go back here and try again. Now it was submitted and I was redirected to the front page. Perfect. And as you can see here, I also had the lead here. Great. So now we can set this task to done, like that. I just noticed one more thing I want to fix, and that is if I go in here, this is missing some styling. So I need to go to bulma.io to find what I'm missing here. So form, select, and as div class select was supposed to be around that. Like that. Close it and remove the class from the select element. And then do the same thing in here. We can save again, go back, and now you notice it looks much better. Perfect. And that was it for this part. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. In the next part, we're going to make it possible to edit a lead and also view the detail page of a lead. So, see you in the next video.